Hello, everyone, and that's our fresh and new episode of the Fintech Garden podcast. And let me introduce my co-host Dumitru Condrea, who is ex-Solaris and he's working in financial industry for more over the decade. And today we're going to talk about AI and fintechs and the usage in financial industry.
Hello, once again to everyone. Welcome to our new episode. Igor, thank you very much. And my co host, Igor Tomych, the guy who is creating magic things in fintech world, coming from tech side and moved his working appliance into the business side and developing very great and absolutely wonderful products. Hello once again, Igor. What's the topic for today? I heard we had an agreement to discuss today artificial intelligence and machine learning in fintech.
Yeah,
Am I
yeah,
wrong?
that's correct. And that's quite wide topic, I would say, because there are a lot of discussions nowadays with the natural language processing models, chat GPT, I don't know, video creations. And I would say that, as usual, we should start with the definitions. What are those things? How we can properly slice them for better understanding. And maybe in this case, I would prefer to start with putting the difference between artificial intelligence and machine learning. What is your vision, Mintru? How you distinguish them?
I will give a definition from the perspective of application of appliance of this to things. So artificial intelligence is a technical code. Sorry, artificial intelligence basically is applied mostly in. All of us we know what it means ChatGPT and so on, but it's mostly applied in processing, in natural language processing. For example, a lot of time, and very often you will see that artificial intelligence is used in chatbots. It's used for computer visions. It's using for I don't know. Automatization process of a lot of payments and a lot of processing things, analyzing the acceptance rates, for example, for the payments and so on. Machine learning is more a subset of artificial intelligence. It's focused mostly on algorithms, and you you as a fintech mostly use machine learning in KCKB process. You are using this in automatization of I don't know risk modeling, for example. You're using this machine learning for um, for improving some datas and so on. The difference, mostly the biggest difference between AI and machine learning in fintech is that machine learning you're using for the things you taught that machine to analyze, not more. So, for example, if you're uploading a PDF file with KB document, for example, I don't know, certificate of incumbency as an example, machine learning will be taught to learn to analyze the certificate of incumbency in the range of other certificates of incumbency that he saw or he was taught to analyze. When artificial intelligence can go much wider, and most of the time artificial intelligence existing of artificial intelligence is to the existence of machine learning. From technical point of view, what do you think it's the difference and what's the definition?
I think technical is always following the logic, and I would do a little bit of the trick here because I would start what is the current and programming that exists nowadays. Because what we have in the computers is something that is algorithm, which is finalized and can be described as a sequence of the specific commands. And I think the biggest difference between nowadays computers and humans that if you're trying to do something as an expert or as a human, you don't have a specific set of rules that you do. Like you cannot put into the sequence how to find out a cat on the picture. Like you know it's a cat, but you cannot put the sequence like if you see ears, that's a cat because a lot of animals have ears, and if it it can be just put into the sequence of the specific rules that to follow and execute a specific task, and that it means smart. Like someone who is intelligent or smart, they can receive the result without a proper set of the instruction for getting it. Because if we have the set, it kind of becomes the programming. And that's the current state of the almost all the software because engineers are writing a lot of different instructions and then those applications are following those rules. And what we see for a couple of years, there is a big boom in artificial intelligence and machine learning. And what does it mean? And let's start with machine learning. And machine learning, it's a math which is actually existing for over 50 years nowadays. All those statistical methods, they quite as a math has been developed in 60s. And what is happening right now? We reached at the level when the computational power allowing us to take quite large massives of data, like we can take a lot of pictures, and we can subset them into two sets, one with the cats and one without the cats. So we have, I don't know, 1,000,000 pictures of the cats and 1,000,000 pictures of non-cats. And then we can, with the statistical methods, we can run those two sets of images and educate or do the statistics analysis over those pictures. And then we will have the model, which by those two sets can understand who are the cats. I really like the comics X Cassidy. That's one of the comics from the ex-NASA employee. He's writing really smart jokes in comic strips. And over 10 years ago, he had one image which was saying like, estimations from engineer is really hard. Because if you say, let's geolocate the customer and provide them, I don't know, a set of the financial services tailored to this location. Oh, okay, I don't know, 10 hours of the engineering. But if recognize the type of the bird on the image, then it might take years. And actually, this is shifting because with the machine learning, we can do certain things which were not possible 10 years ago by utilizing the new computational power to analyze large, massive of information, but with the cats, and find out the cats. And you can do a simple trick, like you can go to your iPhone photos, you can type cat, and actually the phone will give you the list of the all pictures with the cats. Although you never mark those images or photos to have a cat. And that's kind of the magic of machine learning. And I think the second term, artificial intelligence, which is widely used, once again, there is a really nice joke that has been there for, I don't know, 5 years. What is the difference between AI and machine learning? Because AI, that's something that you see in PowerPoint presentation, and machine learning, that's something that engineers are using their code. So I would say AI is more marketing, although it's definitely a wider term, which is describing something to be executed in smart way. So it's not an algorithm. It's not even exactly pointing to statistical methods. It's something to do and behave like human-like. And that's what we call AI. So it's a good background to start the discussion. And Dumitru, do you see and can you maybe highlight certain good examples of machine learning that we using or you have been using or seeing in fintechs?
Beside the cats on the iPhone.
Cats are important. In Ukraine, we even have a bank which is built around the cats and the whole marketing around the hat. So let's scratch that. Let's more talk about the financial industry.
So beside the cats, so most of the time, for example, marketing, you just brilliantly mentioned the fact that sometimes AI is used more as a marketing thing when basically there's a machine learning behind. I'll give you a very small example. There are companies that are giving loans, consumers loans, wherever, factoring. And I was approached by a person, I think a year ago, here in Romania, Bucharest, who told me, well, we have very good software for risk analysis and scoring for non-banking financial institutions for here in Romania, and it helps like with artificial intelligence to navigate and give a great credit score for factoring, so on and so on. And I was like, wait a second, what does it mean AI in your system? What does it specifically do? Well, AI credit score, analyze all the documents, see, give a score. It's like, wait a second, this is machine learning, it's not AI. No, it's AI. So we had this discussion, yes and no, for 5 minutes. Then at the end, he is like, okay, yes, it's machine learning. Just don't ruin my marketing campaign. It's like, dude, I don't care. But it's machine learning. And of course, for a lot of guys, a lot of people who are not familiar with technical stack, they will say, like, wow, a software, credit risk software that works with enhanced AI and so on. But in actually, it's machine learning. How machine learning is working. I mean, you take a pool of data, a big amount of pool of data for, I don't know, uh, in Romania, like for 20 years, even more, from National Bank, from other sources and so on. You just put that, you give the machine the script. Okay, it's easy, right? It sounds easy. You say to machine, like, go analyze this. You build the parameters, you build all the algorithms, you write everything for that machine to analyze, to do. And then that machine is taught to analyze it this way. And the difference is that sometimes a machine can be wrong because the set of parameters and the set of algorithms you, as a creator of that machine, you inserted there were not calculated for some very, very specific cases. And sometimes it can be wrong. So this is the most often situations where machine learning is met in fintech world. Credit scoring, client scoring, and sometimes even risk assessment, because credit scoring is close to risk assessment, but risk assessment per general, not only like credit scoring. AI I met, well, and machine learning I met very often in fraud detection. I mean, it's easy. It's very easy to build machine learning for fraud detection. And I'll tell you, I mean, a lot of product owners and CTOs will hate me for this thing that it's easy, but it's simple because you have a very classical, worldwide recognized parameters for fraud detection, building fraud detection using machine learning. Being of a card, geolocation of a terminal, I mean, phone or wherever, notebook, computer we are using, CVV, the existence of the names. I will tell you a secret. Sometimes it's not so important to write your full name and surname in the payment page, but exist algorithms that say, like, if you use only 2 characters, the payment will be considered as a fraud. So it's better to write at least your family name and 3 letters of your name. Well, in case if you're J, then write the full name and J. Anyways, so here's also very easy to build machine learning. I mean, to use machine learning to build fraud detection. But I know guys who went much, I mean, they went behind this, and behind. I mean, they developed an AI further. Yeah, thank you. So they developed AI system for fraud detection that enhanced. I mean, they are embedding different machine learning for different tasks like credit scoring, risk, fraud detection, and so on and so on. Like even the robot advisory service, analyzing how the history of communication between the customer and the robot, chatbot, a lot of things, and they give a score to the customer. So artificial intelligence basically is giving advice for giving a credit, increasing the credit limits or not. Even if, as I said at the beginning, artificial intelligence is several machine learning embedded in one single shell. So these are, I know a lot of examples, but I just shot myself because then our podcast will not be for 20 minutes only.
But I will give you a hard time as an engineer. Like I've been in those cycles and required definitions with the teams. And let's say, well, I don't know, on the sprint planning or kicking off a new project with the ML, and you're saying, okay, let's build a nice ML for the cross-border transfer. So like, and that's kind of the example that you said. Like we have the beneficiary information, we have our information, then we do. And the first question as solution architect, I would ask, like, why not to build the algorithm? Because the behavior of the customer, someone who is trying to dispatch the payment cross-border, we know quite algorithmically all the information that we're filling in on our system for sending the transfer to. And we have all the information for the person who is sending. So why go beyond and build the ML, and what are going to be the advantages? Because If you give me the algorithm, I don't know, if I'm sending the money at 2 a.m., midnight on Friday night, and I'm trying to send someone to India, it doesn't sound like a good try from our client, and potentially the score of this transfer might be lower if it's, I don't know, it starts Monday 10 a.m. from the office of the client. So like we can understand by certain information, and we can estimate the weights of the different parameters like time, location, destination, some IML checks for the customer. And it sounds like a algorithm. So we know all the ins, we can weight it in, and it has nothing to do with the machine learning and AI. Like, what is the advantage for ML in this case?
Well, here comes machine learning and me as a product owner, in this case, in our discussion. Friday morning at 10 a.m., which means the night between Thursday and Friday, 2 in the morning, 10 a.m., for example, in Central Europe, somewhere in Berlin, as example, as far as I remember, it's around 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning, or 8:30 even in the morning in some regions and states of India.
True.
So if your family name is more close to an Indian family name, then me as a product owner building this thing, I said like, dude, we need the machine learning because we need to detect fraud, but this will be I'll not mark with a flag this transaction, because in the morning something happened in India. They called me or the guy who is living in Berlin, family relatives like, hey, I mean, something happened. Can you please help me? I know it's late night for you, but it's already morning for us. Send us the money. So machine learning will, and with very good algorithms behind, will know that in India it's morning and it's normal. I mean, maybe we'll raise a yellow flag, but it's good. Well, in case if it's 2 in the morning, Friday, not Saturday, but Friday, and you are with a classical German surname and family name, name and family name German one, and you're sending money to India, yeah, it can be a risky thing. It's true. And you basically gave a response in your question. ML, it's very important, but if you're a startup, at the beginning, I honestly will advise to build an anti-fraud but because ML anti-fraud system is in the machine learning system. So build a very simple anti-fraud that will cover the basis. Don't go beyond and just create a very complex anti-fraud when you're just a startup. It triggered me because I had this discussion 2 weeks ago with someone. So yeah, it's good to have. So anti-fraud is important. And by the way, don't forget that regulatory compliance request anti-fraud.
Yeah, it's obvious. It's required. But maybe I will jump in and here the difference that I would expect from the product owner to explain to engineers. It's quite simple. If we do the algorithm, we don't need to use any previous data from our system. So we have strict rules which are well defined, and then we are running through the cycle. And actually, the pretty neat thing, that's a prerequisite for building ML. Because if you would like to do the statistics analysis, as I already mentioned, you need to have the data set with the correct information and not correct. So actually, that's usually the first step when we start to build machine learning. So we're defining algorithmic way to collect the data for the data set. And then we are running our system for half a year. We're collecting the customers who behaved well and who we think are actually the frauds. We are kind of marking them. Then maybe the compliance officer or someone from financial team is doing extra checks, checking the information. That's kind of what WISE do. When you're trying to send the transfer to someone who is potentially in fraud list or anti-money laundering, they're asking additional information, and then they clear in those statuses. And ML is second step. Then we take in those two large data sets with the fraud cases or money laundering cases and usual transactions, and we educating encode the system to do the statistic analysis and understand what are the cases for some legal activities. And actually, the trick is to explain for the developers, it's not one replacing with another one. For building machine learning, we have to have the algorithm to collect the data And then on top of this data, educate machine learning. And they kind of might be even running in parallel. So we're trying to score the transaction with them, with the code. And then additionally, we check in with the machine learning. And then we even potentially might have two scoring fields, one for the machine learning, another for algorithm and check, and with the humans to recheck with the compliance team or back office team. So yeah, it's a good one.
So wait, I didn't get correct. Maybe I didn't understand. So we need data, history data, or we don't need
Because
history
you
data
cannot
for
train.
machine learning.
That's something that a lot of people are missing. Machine learning cannot exist with the pre-marked data. You cannot take algorithm and say, please find the cats. You cannot say, please find frauds. You cannot take the code and say, find money laundering.
Right.
Because there is no data. The statistics requires to indicate on something, and usually it's quite large amount of the data, because for finding really precisely the cats on the images, you need to have millions and millions photos with the different cats, colors, sizing, breed, I don't know, lights, environment. And then the system eventually, with the large amount of the correct data and uncorrect data, will collect those much better as a human. Because think about this, when you build it in an algorithm as an expert, you might cover, I don't know, 5% of the cases when you have in real life, like how the fraudsters or people trying to launder in the money, they overrule it. Because like, let put it simple. Years ago, we built the algorithmic system for doing the transactions against the money laundering. And the really first rule, which caught about 90% of all the cases, is actually the time between money in and money out. So if you have an account, and then the amount of the money is changing dramatically, like more than 100%. Like you had 100 pounds, and then someone is sending you 1,000. And then if within 1 hour, this person is trying to send those money out, it's a case for IML, because someone is using an account which was sleeping to receive the funds from some fraud activity, and then moving through one account to another institution is like they rerouting money and cleaning their way. So it's kind of algorithmic way. But then if the fraudster knows that actually you need to wait for 1 hour and you will do, I don't know, 1 a.m. and then 2 a.m., 5 minutes, you will do the transfer, this algorithmic rule will not catch it. But if you will run statistical search, then you are not dependent about this parameters 1 hour by the product manager or BA or someone who is making the decision, because those numbers will come from real life, from real customers, and it might be adjusted. Then we might find out that statistically, actually, all the fraud cases that we have in past and we discovered them, they has been moving money around 3 hours from receiving. So that's kind of the difference, because with algorithmic, we are putting ourselves in quite a lot of dependency of the knowledge from people who are creating the business requirements. But with the statistical methods, we're kind of taking them from the real system with the data sets. And that's kind of my difference, because we might not know something. We might be wrong about certain requirements that we're building as experts, and statistical methods are helping us. It doesn't mean that actually you can take the experts, you give them the data sets, and they will run the statistical methods, and they will receive the same parameters. But what we do is like we kind of eliminating this step. We said, okay, we have 1 million transactions which mark it as frauds, and we have 10 million transactions which are not fraudulent. Let's compare them. Let's build the ML that we educate in every time when transaction is happening, and then we will have a better filter for those transactions. So I think it's quite essential understanding, because there is no magic as an ML machine learning. You cannot take the model from somewhere and it has no training on the statistical data. So that's kind of my view. What do you think about that?
I'm speechless, because you covered a lot of things, and I have a feeling I triggered something, because you were telling everything so passionate that I was like, okay, seems like a lot of cases are behind a lot of experience. I absolutely agree with you. This is why I ask you, because I had the feeling that you said no need of data, and I was like, wait, why?
No, for ML, it's definitely a need. For algorithmic, no need, because you can build the cases in your head, then do the coding for the developers, and then it will work with no data. But if we're talking machine learning, it actually the learning. You need to educate the machine on something, and that means data.
Machine learning focus on predictions,
data-driven approach.
Data-driven predictions. So data-driven predictions are the core is data. So we need data for machine learning.
Yeah,
when AI, for example, doesn't include, includes machine learning, includes algorithms, but it can work without historical data. It just can give you the assumptions. It can give you, well, based on data, can give predictions, but also can give predictions without data, just giving you predictions like in my mind. In the opinion of AI, it's totally different.
Yep.
When you combine artificial intelligence algorithms with data-driven approaches, then you have what we are calling AI, like ChatGPT or Gemini or wherever. It's absolutely. I have a feeling that we need to discuss the ethics, the ethical part of using machine learning and AI, but we are we don't have so much time today, unfortunately. And we have to discuss about the future of AI, because ethical part and the future of AI machine learning is very, very close, because right now everything sounds ethical, everything looks ethical. But if we will open books of Isaac Asimov or other futurists, we will be scared a little bit. And by the way, I saw the trend of the market. People are a little bit scared. Sometimes they are scared to say that they are scared about machine learning and AI, because they'll be considered a little bit of dumb, so on. But exist, and there are really risks with this. We have to be very, very cautious with this. It's a thing that can create issues and problems. But for this, thanks God, we have regulatory bodies that will help us here. And I think, all the time we are, all the regulators in European Union or in Europe, like continental Europe, are considered to be not so fast in approving new methods, new approaches. And there are two conservatorists. And I think the fact that regulator bodies in European Union and continental Europe are not so fast in this topic can, by the way, help us very slow and very with a lot of cautiousness, to find the best regulation for AI and ML in fintech, but not the current one that we're using now, but the future one. So my proposal is, let's discuss one of our next topics for our next podcast episode to be the future and the ethics of using of AI ML fintech, because it's a very, very big topic. And due to the fact that we are very close to the end of the last minutes of our podcast, Igor, what do you think? What's the best book you'll recommend this week for our listeners and watchers to read?
Today I will recommend something really special for me. I tend to recommend the books and something which is kind of the base ground. Like there are a lot of things which are trendy, that are changing a lot, but certain things can be taken as base ground. Like I already talked about Adam Smith and economics and his vision, like what is the market, what is the invisible hand of the market. Today I will recommend something from the physics, from the science. And I think that's one of the part which helps quite a lot in engineering to understand the basic rules of the science. Like what is the scientific knowledge, what is the way how to peel your ideas to work with the technical stuff. And the book is really old. Actually, it was released at the same age, or the same year when I was born. So it's from 85. And the book is named Surely You're Joking, Mr. Feynman. That's quite a famous scientist who took the part in Manhattan Project by creating the atomic bomb in the United States. And this guy is incredible. Like he has an autobiography book, which is describing his way, starting from being a kid, fixing the radios for the neighbors, and then into the college, into the taking the part in Manhattan Project. And after that, so it's really lovely reading. It has a lot of personal touch and his story of the life, and a lot of insights how you, with the proper thinking and perspective, you can achieve much more. How you would peel ideas, how you would communicate with other people. So that's definitely my recommendation. it's not AI, it's not a financial, but it has a lot of overlapping ideas which will help you to be more effective and more laser focused for getting the results. So it's really a nice book. I recommend it a lot.
It's absolutely great book, and you're so young.
Yeah.
Well, okay, your face says a little bit different things.
Sorry,
because you're a
too
hard
much.
worker.
Yeah, too much overtime.
Yeah. Well, in my case, because we spoke for about AI, and I thought like, wait a second, a lot of people are like the case I mentioned today. We had an AI software, blah blah blah. A lot of, I mean, people around us, the majority, 90, okay, whatever, 90 and something percent of the population around us, they have no idea what's the difference between machine learning and artificial intelligence. So even those who have idea, sometimes we can, be mistaken. We can mess some of the terms and some of the things from one side to another because, and it's everything because they're embedded. These terms are very embedded. So my recommendation is a book that tries to explain in a very simple language what means AI, what means machine learning, most accent on AI. It's a book wrote by Janil Shane. The name of the book is "You Look Like a Thing and I Love You." You have no idea. I mean, when you read the title, you have no idea that this is
Is it AI
AI.
generated?
Uh,
The title.
by the way, we have to check. We have to check. Yeah, but it's a very good book. Honestly, very good book. You just go and search this book. You'll find it and buy it. It's very easy to read. Very good. And yeah, I mean, it'll explain you a lot. I
Awesome.
think that's it for today.
Thank you so much for the recommendation. It's really nice book. I think for the regulation, I have another book for AI. It's more about the generic AI, but yeah, it's a good one. So please read Feynman. Please read this book
Daniel Shane.
about Daniel Shane. So thank you for participating in today's podcast. It was a pleasure to share the opinion and discuss the difference in artificial intelligence and machine learning. And
Yeah, and by sure
algorithms.
we will. Yeah, and by sure we'll come later with another episode about the future and the ethics of machine artificial. I wanted to say artificial machines,
Good.
machine learning and artificial intelligence.
We will take both positive sides for it from those two terms.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you
Thank
very
you so,
much to all.
thank you so much for listening us. It's a short one, but pretty insightful and deep conversation. And we're looking forward to hear more. Please subscribe to our channel and please follow us in social networks. And we will be pleased to answer your questions or any inquiries that you have.
See you. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye.